Hey yo, it's time to roar, get loud, let's ignite. Jeremy B in the house, we keeping it tight. Every weekday at 11, we ready to ride. Lions Talk Live, come and join the pride. Waking up early, it's that morning grind. Tune in to the show, leave the troubles behind. Jeremy B's the king, with the voice like thunder. Every word he spits, it's a lyrical wonder. Got the lions around, sharp and fierce. When we hear one pride, you can't help but feel your heart pierce. Talking all the topics, keep it real, keep it raw. With a lion's mentality, we're ready for the roar. One pride, it feels right. Jeremy B bringing the heat, morning light. Every weekday at 11 we taking flight. Lions Talk Alive, yeah, we ready to bite. One pride, hear us loud. Jeremy's in the zone, making us proud.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
All right, that's right. We are back at Lions Talk with Smoke and Jeremy B. It's good to see everybody. We had to have a little hiatus yesterday due to some StreamYard issues, but we're back. I'm an hour late because, well, I was up till 3 a.m. trying to help figure something out different. It was that bad. But it's back. We're here. I'm live. Happy Victory Tuesday, my brother. Yes. It was a gritty win. It was an ugly win. It was an ugly season. But it had to do with that resilience and being the hunters instead of the hunted. Yes, we did, Bill T. I think they needed to. Something was off from the year before to this year. They couldn't figure it out, and I don't blame them. But Dan Campbell did a presser this morning. Let's get into it. I want to dive into it because I want you to hear his words exactly. Dan Campbell announced after the 2025 season that changes were inevitable for the Lions, emphasizing a need to return to their hunter mentality, improve the running game, and overall staff and performance. The core philosophy of grit and resilience remains the same, but the implementation and the specifics of the roster and coaching staff are subject to change. Philosophy changes the mindset shift. The team plans to revert to being the hunters rather than the hunted, focusing on the underdog mentality that brought initial success and avoiding complacency after winning seasons. Running game priority. Stress that fixing the running game is everything after a significant decline in rushing yards in the 2025 season. The roster competition. There is an intent to add more competition across the roster, particularly at cornerback, safety, and offensive line to ensure players don't feel secure in their position. Steve Bauer, RBF Fred, Bill T. I'm going to get to that in a second. I'm going to talk about all the coaching changes, and I'm going to say my top 3 that are available for offensive coordinator here in a second. Campbell indicated that changes were coming to the coaching staff, including the first order of business, get this staff right. He had previously taken over play calling duties in the 2025 season. Training and preparation. The team will emphasize getting back. Yes, I'm back, Mike Edwards. Get back to a little bit of what we did at the ground level in their training and competition, training and conditioning to prevent injuries and sharpen the sword. Yeah, hour late because, like I said, I was up till 3 a.m. racking my brain on how to fix this, and lo and behold, I wake up to it being fixed, and I woke up late. I slept through 2 alarms, not just one. I set one for 10:30, I set one for 11, but I'm here. So let's give the season in a nutshell here. Offensively, were we awful? Let's see. We were 4th in points scored, 3rd in passing yards with 4,567. Passing touchdowns, 35. One of those belonging to one David Montgomery, so 34 to Jared Goff. 2,041 rushing yards. We had 2,200 last year when you added in the splash plays from everybody else. I will be talking about that right shortly. And 21 rushing touchdowns, which was good for 7. Passing touchdowns was 3rd, and rushing touchdowns was 7th. Defensively, it actually doesn't look. We were 4th in sacks this season, so we increased exponentially the amount of sacks we had. El Kadeen, or as Valenti calls him, Bob Muhammad, had 11. Hutch had 14 and a half. He had 3 or 4 that were taken away due to penalties throughout the season, so he could have had 18. Uh, Fumbles recovered, 31st. But we didn't punch that many out either. But we were 11th in interceptions. And our turnover differential, well, it was +4. It wasn't awful. Over the weekend, we did get more news. According to the Detroit Times and Dave Barquette, Sam Laporta's season-ending injury was a herniated disc, and he is expected to be back by training camp. So bring back Zylstra. I don't know about Brock Wright because I don't know the extent of his trachea injury yet. I know he was back practicing, and then they didn't use him. So something's there. They were worried about some type of re-injury with it. But yes, Stefanski fired. Josh Gannon fired. Cliff Kingsbury fired as an OC. Raheem Morris was fired. Great DC, awful head coach. Yes. Aaron Glenn coached the team for the first time in the NFL history, had 0 interceptions. They had forced fumbles, but 0 interceptions. And even though he missed the last 6 weeks of the season, Garrett Wilson, with 60 receptions and 397 yards, led the team in receiving. Richard Head, good to see you, brother. This game, Sunday, our top guys, I'm going to start on the O-line. There was 2 of them that were great. That was Tate Ratledge and Taylor Decker. Everybody else was a revolving door. But yet at the same time, after them, you got to give it up to one Mr. Jared Goff, then Jameer Gibbs, then Monty, because the running game got going again. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, of course. J-Mo got involved in the offense. Teslawa's got a catch in there. We need to utilize him more, and perhaps they will next season. Leaf was returning punts like a madman, making it look like he still wants to be here. Amik Robertson said he would love to come back, but he's not one of the signings we had. Our signings so far: Michael Neese, Jacob Sailors, Nick Whiteside. Yeah, Mahogany was on the field. He just wasn't that great because he was next to Glasgow again. Mahogany's better game was when Tristan Colon was at center, and that makes no sense to me. But they did manage to do great in the run game. They opened holes. We were able to move the ball on the ground. Big difference. Gibbs had over 60 yards. When he has over 60 yards, doesn't matter if he gets a touchdown or not. We win. No, Yas Grassen will be a free agent. We re-signed Sailors because we cut Craig Reynolds. I guess Redskin players are complaining that they fired Cliff Kingsbury because it really wasn't all his fault. They had a ton of offensive line injuries too, which led to a lot of bad play. This was the second most injuries. Second most sacks that Goff has taken in his career. The only year he had more was 2019, the year after the Super Bowl with the Rams. The Cowboys fired Matt Eberflus. Yes, I am. This is not a political show. I do not want to get into it. I am 100% American, third generation American, born and raised right here in Flint, Michigan. Maddox, yes. Yassin, yes. Al Qadim Muhammad, yes. Roy Lopez, yes. Yara Player Mills. I haven't heard anything more about potential OCs, just that they're looking to fix the coaching staff. Um, John Morton has expressed an interest to stay here, even if he's not OC. I don't think the CFL is better. The product on the NFL is better on the field. There is more competition. The CFL is a good league for Canada. There's some good teams that I like there that have produced players that have produced in the NFL. You know, the BC Lions, the Toronto Argonauts have had players come over that have done well, and a couple others here and there. I think the Stampede's another one. But for the most part, I I, I just look at it. Well, by Spot Track for his position and what he produced, it's a $8.5 million a year salary for him. I'd be happier if it was around six. That's just me. Yes and no. No, I did not say Monty's getting the boot. Somebody else said that because we re-signed Sailors. We already re-signed Monty to 3 years. See, that's why you don't make comments like that because people run with it when you are a fan. Nobody said Monty's getting the boot. Monty said he loves it here. He just said that after the game. So that being said, here we are. So let's talk about that game. Like I said, offensively, you got Monty's got 2 years left on his contract. Yeah, there is because everybody thought because we re-signed Sailors. Sailors is a special teams guy. As a matter of fact, he had the second highest kick. He had the highest kick return average this year. That's why we re-signed him. I think the spells that Leaf is out. Even though Leaf just broke our return record as a returner for punt, broke Stephon Logan's record for yardage. But I don't think Leaf comes back because he's a free agent, and I don't know if we can afford to because if we bring him back, you're taking more targets away from JMO and Tesla. It's weird because when we used more zone, we won at the end of the season. We were 6-2 when they decided to not let Morton coach anymore. 6-2. We went 3-5. All three of the games we won, we played more zone. That bothers me. And the reason why is our man coverage guys was hurt. Kirby was out. DA was out. Those were our main man coverage guys. Rock Yasin, when we played man, was a penalty magnet. He ended up with more penalties this season than Terrion Arnold, and nobody bitched about him because he's a vet. But everybody bitched about our second-year player that was still learning his craft, who, after week 5, only had 1 penalty, gave up 0 touchdowns, less than 50 yards per game, and a QBR. Smoking Dad, let me get this on for you. This for all you long timers out there. There we go. Back to normal. Amon-Ra, 11 receptions, 100 over 120 yards.
Nice.
Gibbs, over 80 yards rushing and a tutty receiving.
Nice.
Tesla had a catch.
Nice.
He had more yards and touchdowns than Golden, who was in the last half of the season and supposedly a number 1 pick overall, while Jaden Reed was missing time. 6 touchdowns for Mr. Tesla, 2 touchdowns for Luther Burden, a second-round pick, and 0 for Marcus Golden of the Packers, who was a first-round pick. And missed me with they didn't use. I'm saying Arnold, before his injury, improved right before our eyes in those next 4 or 5 games, and nobody said anything. So here are your coaches that are free agents now. Brian Callahan, or Bill Callahan, Brian Dable, Raheem Morris, Josh Gannon, Kevin Stefanski, and Pete Carroll. Now, offensive coordinators, both DC coordinators were fired from Washington and Dallas, as they should have been. The whole coaching staff is gone. It would have to be the right move. It would have to be the right move, and they'd have to be willing to take on some of that dead cap hit, with it being the second year of a 3-year contract. Oh, no, that's going to probably Omeko Ibika, Tyler Warren, or Rondé Gadsden. That's my guess. Those are the 3 that I thought had the best rookie years. GM opening. We all know that back in November, Dolphins fired their GM and actually played better after. And the Falcons fired Terry Fontenot yesterday on Black Monday. But Eberflush is no longer the DC of the Cowboys. I bet you they're going to try to scoop up Raheem Morris. That makes sense to me. Or Steve Wilkes that was let go by the Jets. And there was another one, the one that was just let go from the Commanders. One of those guys is going to swoop them up. They're going to swoop up one of those 3. Those are all proven DCs with good track records. I think we're staying with Calvin Shepard, but assistant DC may be different. Because let's face it, Lacey, our defensive line coach, did his job. We went up to 49 sacks this year, and nobody's talking about it. Yep. Thanks, Dad. I don't know who wins Defensive Rookie of the Year either. I really didn't pay attention to it. But Talik Williams had a decent season at the second half, playing only 34% of the snaps until Sunday. Sunday, he was our starter, and he also was one of my defensive standouts. Anzalone was the other. Jack Campbell was another. Maddox. That's my 4. That's my 4 top guys on defense. For some reason, nobody's rating the PFF grades for Week 18 for the Lions. And it's probably because they're mad we weren't in the playoffs. All the places I usually get it are gone. and it bugs me. Otherwise, I'd already have that up for you. So those are my players of the game. On offense, Decker, Ratledge, Goff. I'm on Ross St. Brown, Gibbs. That's pretty much it. Monty. Glasgow, he was doing fine until he tripped up our own quarterback, made him fall into a guy, and ended up being a sack. That was awful. He was letting Gervon Dexter bull rush him. It had bothered the fuck out of me. I mean, Gervon Dexter's good, don't get me wrong. But look at that. I mean, think about this. Those are our stats for this year. Fourth in points guard, third in both passing yardage and passing touchdowns, seventh in rushing touchdowns, and we were 14th. We took a big dip. Last year, I think we were fifth in rushing. I think Goff is second in completion percentage. But Goff is a problem. Faced a 34% pressure rate, just like one Lamar Jackson, who's 8-9 and out of the playoffs too. They're on the couch with us. And because they lost, we went from 15th to 16th. Or 17th, excuse me. We lost 2 draft positions. Carolina, as a division winner, with less wins, will be picking after us. They'll be picking 19th. The Packers, depending on where they lose, might be 20th. Because the Vikings are 18th. We're 17th. Ravens are 15th, where we were until we won. 2 draft spots. You could probably get the same damn guy in that spot as you would have at 15. You're not talking about going to 11th. We wouldn't have went to 11th because we beat the Ravens. We'd have been at 15. We wouldn't have moved up or down. We'd have stayed right where we were. It's 2 draft spots. This win meant more to Dan Campbell. And he coached like it until the fourth quarter. The second half, I don't know what happened there. Some of the stupidest trick plays we tried. That 3rd and 1 with Monty, or 4th and 1, or whatever it was, when Monty flea flicked it back to Jared Goff when the pressure started. And I think that's because we had a guy on the right tackle side that shouldn't have been starting, with Panay Sewell being out with his ankle injury. So it is what it is. There we are. We loaded up the truck from Christmas, and we're moving back into the basement. The good news is the Vikings fans at least cleaned it up. They got rid of their damn horns, uh, drinking horns all over the ground, and turned the heat back up. It's not so frigid. Thank you. You could tell he wanted it. And he was able to tell after the game to his student, the guy he mentored for the past 4 seasons, Ben Johnson, you're still the student, not the master. Now we're going to get that same benefit that the Bears had last this past season. And it sucks in a way. We get a last place schedule for the first time since 2021. We know who the opponents are. So let's look at it. And I'll tell you what's different from everybody else in it. Because it needs to be discussed. Right here. We have the same 3 opponents every year. And then we have the 2 divisions we play, which is the AFC East, and the NFC South. So we're all going to play the Bucks, the Saints, the Commanders, the Bills, the Patriots, the Jets, the Panthers, the Giants. No, not the Giants. Excuse me. And the Dolphins. We're going to play all those guys. That's what we do. If I hadn't read your story, I would have thought Dan was constipated. Not just. That's funny. What it did do is it made it so we faced the Giants, the Saint, no, not, the Cardinals, and the Titans. Three of the worst teams picking in the top 5 of the draft this year. And everybody says that 3 don't mean anything. I said, yes, it does. That's why the Bears were able to win more than expected. If they'd have been playing a first place schedule, they'd have had to face the Rams. They'd have had to face who else? They'd had to face the Chiefs. They didn't face the Chiefs. I don't think they do. I don't think they do. Because he did coach them to a position where they could have won. That's okay, RBF, Brett. But it is a victory. A victory Tuesday. I couldn't do victory Monday because our StreamYard was foobarred. I woke up late, went to make the show, and it said, wow, you don't have a show to do. You can't go live. You can't do this. You can't do that. So, what do you guys think about that? If they get the offensive line, the offensive coordinator, and all that right. Harbaugh still has a job. He has done far too much for that franchise in 20 years. They are competitive every year. But they haven't made it back to the Super Bowl since they got rid of Joe Flacco. And I said that was a big mistake on their part to put all that trust in a rookie. When was the last time the Ravens missed the playoffs? I believe it was either 2021 or 2020. These were the NFC red flags going into right. Tyler Luke, a rookie kicker, missed a field goal to end the game. These were the red flags going into week 18. And I said they were 28 giveaways by the Seahawks. They got that. They didn't give the football away for 2 weeks. I don't think that's a possibility either. I think they're going to retool that O line. They had guard issues. They had tackle issues with injuries on both sides at different times throughout the season. And I think that was the biggest problem. That and the change in offensive coordinator. Points allowed, 357.3. That was the Lions and Bears. That's funny, RBF. But guess who was dead last in sacks this year with less than we had as a defense last season when we complained about it? San Francisco, prior to this game, was 32nd in the league with 18 sacks, and the next one had 10 more. Green Bay, takeaways, 27th in the league. In other words, 6th worst. 13 takeaways total. And last but not least, since week 10, in other words, the week after we beat them, a certain team went 1-7 during that run. That's the worst case of the Honolulu Blue Flu I ever seen. To go 2-7, win against the team that had a game lead on you, to have a chance to win the division, and then had to become a Saints fan to watch them lose the next day and knock you out of the playoffs. That's one Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They were the worst team in the second half. It wasn't even us at 3-5. It wasn't. Was it an epic collapse? Yes. And the refusal to play more zone probably cost us a lot. But at the same time, here we are talking football. On a Tuesday. We all know what I like to do at the end of the show, but it isn't the end of the show yet. Do you know what I want to do? Let's have some fun. You guys ready to do one? I'm going to have it set up here in the background, ready to rock and roll. We're going to go by ESPN's metrics. That's right. It's another mock draft. Why not? Let's get some background music going because that sounds fun. The comments off the stage so you guys can see the whole screen. We might even accept trades. I don't know. Not that one. Not that one. So it looks like we're staying right here. And look at that. We have our choice. I'm going Mendoza here. What the hell? Oh, I messed that up. That was bad. Let's fix that. I thought that was Malagoa. That's my bad. I am not drafting a quarterback the first round. Sorry. No. Oh, Caleb Lomo. There you are. No. God, it would be great. Do I give up the late fourth round pick to get a third round pick? I think I do. Oh, I hit the wrong thing. Who was that? Jaguars? Trade has been rejected. Okay, fine. Getting too fast with the button. So 3 he's still here. I want him. Offensive, but I wouldn't want him. Hey, look at that. And we move up into the 6th round again. I wonder who they're taking. I think I'm going to accept it. Boom.
City sleeps another year.
So Tyreek Sapp is gone. Monty Jackson's gone. There we go. I like this kid out of Cincinnati. Dante Corleone. As you know, Corleone, that's a name from movie. And his teammates call him the Godfather because he's 6'1" and 330 pounds. And it's muscle, not fat. He moves very well.
Of better days echoes in a hazy maze. Same old story year on year. Hope and heartbreak always near. A rumble deep, secrets they
I don't like the computer generated picks because they usually pick something really stupid. I think we're going to have to double down at safety, boys. We're going to be out for a while here. I like him late. Go OT here. Six, 315. 6'5", 322. Kind of like his size. I'm going to have to look him up. So there we go. I think it turned out pretty good. What do you grade it, boys? I will make it so we can see it on the big screen. Because he played, he's not available for coaching at a main coordinator position. I don't think we need a cornerback coach. So, out of the list of people I named, Bill Callahan was a good OC, bad head coach. Josh Gannon was a good OC in college before he was made the head coach of Arizona. You know what else Sunday did to Chicago? We made this man 0-4. 0-4 versus the Lions. Andy was a good quarterback coach / OC for the Bills before he got the job with the Giants. Remember, Josh Allen, his first couple of years, was not a very good quarterback. Very talented, but his decision-making was bad. I knew you'd love that one, Michael did, Edwards. Yes, he did. The other one that I'm surprised is not being let go, that nobody's talking about. Steichens for the Colts. He, like Todd Bowles, fell apart in that second half. And it wasn't right away that Danny Dimes got hurt. They could have had 3 more wins and they went away from Jonathan Taylor. Is he a good coach? I don't know. Great OC. Coach remains to be seen. Imagine coaching a quarterback who, at the end of the day, had less net yards than you did walking to your mailbox. And that was your starter to start the season. And it was week 4 of the season, no longer the preseason of the beginning of the year. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he had Steichens there. He had a good DC that left. Josh Gannon. And things started to fall apart. Remember that? He kept Wentz instead of Nick Foles that year. I think they needed to get rid of Wentz. I think they ruined Nick Foles mentally. And that's why he never looked the same as he did during that run after Carson Wentz got hurt in week 11 or 12, I think, that season when he rattled off all those wins to get them and then beat Tom Brady and the Patriots in the Super Bowl, sending Tom Brady away to another conference. So, yes, he was. He was a Super Bowl MVP. He was never the same after that, because you remember what they called him in the locker room after he won the Super Bowl MVP? Big Dick Nick. And he was never Big Nick Nick again. He became Incontinent Nick, pissing and shitting himself wherever he played after that because they ruined him. And yet, what Nick Foles did while Carson Wentz was hurt, Carson Wentz was an MVP candidate that season, looking like the best thing since sliced bread in the second year of his career. And watch the backup. I agree with this 100%. I do not want either one of them. Joe Brady, I would love to get him, but it doesn't look like they're going anywhere because Buffalo's still in the playoffs, remember? But if it's another first first round exit or less, or whatever, you know what I'm trying to say here. they have a first round exit or a divisional round exit and don't make the AFC championships again, the Bills may be moving on because it may be time. It's crazy. Um, there's so much going on in the NFL, and there's going to be more. There will be more players. He doesn't have enough games. He came in too late in the season. He has to start at least 10 games. He cannot be offensive rookie of the year. Offensive player of the year, it's probably going to go to one of three people, and it won't be a quarterback. It's either going to be JSN, I would say Jonathan Taylor, or Jameer Gibbs. That's my three finalists. Amon-Ra quietly had 1,400 yards this season, and everybody complained about his 13, 14 drops he had. When it comes to targets, my God. So let's see. Goff ended up with 393 completions on 578 attempts for 4,564 yards passing and 34 tutties. That means that 3-yard touchdown pass from David Montgomery was the only yards not accrued by Jared Goff in the passing game. Kyle Allen was 0 for 2. He spiked the ball because he came in when it was garbage time in a couple of games. Jameer Gibbs, 243 yards, 243 attempts, 1,223 yards, 5 yards per carry, a long of 78, and 13 tutties, and 1 fumble loss. David Montgomery, 158 carries, 716 yards, 4.5 yards per carry, which is up from last year, despite having a yards before contact reduced from 3.5 to negative 2.2. A long of 72, which he did versus the Ravens. I remember it clearly. And 8 tutties. There's 21. No one else scored a touchdown on the ground. Jared Goff had 19 rushing attempts for 45 yards, 2.4 yards per carry. No touchdowns. And 2 fumbles lost. Yeah, it's Myles Garrett. Broke the sack record. We know that's not close. MVP, I think it's going to go to Drake May. Despite Stafford having 36 touchdowns, that 2 and 4 down the stretch hurt them bad because 3 of them were due to Matt Stafford pick sixes that cost them games. Oh, the Chiefs waived the quarterback, and no, it's not Pat Mahomes. It's Shane Beagle, Beachel, whatever you say his name, Bichelle. They just signed him off the Bills practice squad. Pedestal, hands down. He allowed 2 sacks all season with bad rookie play to begin with the first few weeks in Ratledge because he was up and down for the first few weeks. Let's not sugarcoat it. A center that was a revolving door all season. and a left guard that was platooned by grocery getters most of the year. Decker gave up more sacks this year than last year, but guess what? That's what happens when you have bad guard play. Last year, he had Glasgow next to him, who was awful. Mahogany was good the 3 weeks he was in. Decker didn't give up a sack, and everybody forgets that. Mahogany being out those 4 or 5 weeks killed the momentum we were having with the offensive line. No, it 100% is Justin Fields. Because in week 4, Justin Fields' net passing yards was -10, something we've never seen in NFL history. A quarterback with net passing yards were under 0. Max Brosmer was only second worst this year. But tomorrow night, NFL Roundtable Talks. You know what we'll be discussing? The playoffs. Week 18's done. My record this year, it stands for itself. 276 games, 180 and 96 after week 18. I forgot to edit that, right? I went 12-4 last week. Oh, Ratledge isn't going anywhere. He's staying right at right guard. I think we're gonna get a center, whether it's free agency, and the only one in free agency we want is Tyler Linderbaum. But Ravens are talking to him now because they want to lock him up, and I don't blame him. The guy is a Frank Ragnow type of center. He'd be in a perfect world. That's who we could have mentor somebody, sign him to a 2-year contract, take a second round guy, and make it work. Panay Sewell was good every year he's been here. He played half the season at left tackle because Taylor Decker came into the 2021 season recovering from a torn pec surgery. I think it was either week 8 or week 7 when Decker came back, and he moved to right tackle and became better and stayed better. And yes, he's been good at times when they flip-flopped him to the other side when Decker was missing time, when we had more depth at tackle. We don't have a lot of depth at tackle. I'd almost double down at tackle. I am taking a defensive tackle because I'm not re-signing Reader, and I'm restructuring Aleem after this season. And it's not because I think Aleem's awful. I think it's because he needs a reset. So it's time for our favorite part, our sponsors, which is the way the division broke down. Let's get it. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. At 9-8, because the Bears are 0-2, and Dan Campbell is still Ben Johnson's daddy. It's the Lions. And for 2 weeks in a row, Minnesota skull-fucked the Lions and the Packers. They are 9-8 as well. Third place. Sit your ass on the couch like us. Do your mock draft. Have fun. At 9, 7, and 1. 7th seed in the playoffs and maybe a first-round exit. It's FTP. Fuck the Packers. And because Jared Goff still owns this guy, LGBTQB1, at 11-6, it is the Chicago Bears, Queens of the North. I'm coming live out of Flint, where the water's shit, but the tires are good. Have a great day, everybody. I hope you all had a great day watching us beat the Lions and wasn't upset that we lost 2 draft spots because I think people lost their damn mind. Have a great day.
Turn it up, it's that time again. Jeremy B. Lyons, he's your best friend. Every weekday, Evan, you know the vibe. He's shouting one ride with that rockin' tribe. Rolling up the scene, light up that fire. Jeremy's in the booth, taking us higher. With a grin and a laugh, he's got the crowd in a blaze. Smoking out the haters in a rock star haze. The stories that inspire and riffs that will ignite. When one pride echoes, everything feels right. Jeremy B. Lyons, every day at 11. Yelling one B right like we're in rock heaven.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.